Welcome back, guys. Still working on the audio issue. Recently mailed back a nice little piece of equipment because my voice just wasn't coming through enough. And on my crappy self-made podcast, I need to be as audible as possible. Everything must be heard. Um, but we're working with it. It's a work in progress. What can I tell you? That's live television for you, or that is pre-recorded monologuing posted to the internet for you. It's been a bit of a vacation since the last thing I recorded. I think that was if I remember it correctly. I didn't think I would quiz myself on this. That was late September, maybe third week, and we're now third week of October, just about wrapping that up. That's gonna be good. Um, doing a comedy show on the 24th, I believe. We gotta double check that. I've done no promotion and invited no one. Gonna pay $10 to do it. It's a comedy competition show and it's going to go great. My comedy career could not be going better, but at this point I'm just like let me just do what comes to me. Let me just do what's in front of me. Let me not worry about where it's gonna get me or how I'm getting along. I'm just sort of like, I can't focus on that anymore because it's ruining it for me. It ruins it for me to think about uh, what I do comedy for and how that's going to factor into the trajectory I have professionally. If I'm ever going to get paid to do this, if I'm ever going to win the admiration of others, if anyone is going to listen to my damn jokes at all. And that might be a nice little preamble for the topic of episode 3 is these recent late night upheavals, late night comedy. It's been an institution in our country for 70, 80 years, something like that. And it is going through something of a generational change. Of course, with this recording, both matters have, more or less been settled. Uh, Stephen Colbert, who was uh, or it still is the current host of the Late Show, is slated to be uh, canceled in May of next year, and so that was announced in July. It's October now. No plans apparent as of yet as to what is going to replace him. If there's going to be a test pattern, uh, guest starring celebrity who needs to plug product or film or movie. It's an interesting thing. Right now, we're just kind of looking at a vacuum. And that scene is politically motivated because the announcement came just a couple days after he had made a joke about his network, his bosses, settling a lawsuit with our current president, who has not exactly had a shining reputation with democracy. And then later on, just about a month ago, just about a month ago, um, when Charlie Kirk was shot, the subject of my second episode, Jimmy Kimmel had made some, you know, not inane, but like just idle observation about all the people that were trying to frame who Charlie's killer was and what his political leanings were. He just said some like, I don't know, just some general observation and didn't really uh, touch Charlie at all. And he was pulled after that. With that given as the rationale, and then put back on once it was becoming apparent that I guess the network ABC and Disney and their you know their other distributors, Nexstar and I guess Sinclair to a lesser extent, were going to lose lots of money because people were canceling their Hulu Plus Disney plans. I'm sure I'm hoping someone from the past is listening to this, so their head is exploding because that would be really cool. Um, but yeah, no, that's the current state of things, and you know, the topic of censorship, the topic of censoring comedy for political motivations has never been more apparent than it is now. Never really been more apparent, at least in this country. 70 years ago, censoring Steve Allen for the whims of President Eisenhower, that would have seemed unthinkable back then. But it's all too expected now. I think everyone has come to expect the worst out of this current leadership. The worst out of the society is that it is political censorship, and there's nothing he wouldn't stoop to, and all that. And I think for the most part, I agree with it. I mean, I know that's what you tuned in for, is for my scintillating hot take on months old news. But there's an elephant in the room, an elephant in the conversation, and he needs peanuts. And it is the fact that the media landscape and our world, and certainly the world of people who would like to get on the media, is changing. And people can make all the observations they want. They can suggest all the theoretical ideas of what the network could have done to save money, and all the people can rebut that with saying it was politics. And I'm just saying, money and politics doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. CBS, Paramount, basically settling the lawsuit with Trump, just kind of awarding him everything, saying, "Oh, he's so right," validating his opinion, validating his take. There's got to be an odd thing to feel, no matter how much you like the guy, because I think even if you're a sycophant, you still have some sense about you. You deal with a lot of shame, I'm sure, but there's got to be some sense in you that's just like, wow, this is me. Cool, I guess. Um, but yeah, no, this is the consequence of our world, uh, the financial inequity, the concentration of power that the ultra wealthy have, and their ability to buy networks, buy corporations, make executive decisions. Like it doesn't matter, if the current owners of the network or whatever see a way to getting closer to $6 billion, they're going to do it. I mean, part of it, I'm sure, is about political leaning, but more than anything, it's just, how do I get to the money quicker? How do I how do I just hasten it? How do I just like get to the money right away? People thinking, oh, we all need to write our congressman and it needs to be a big federal issue. It's like, this is our world. Like, this is not just going to come uh, to any solution with the deposition of one president, of one leader. Like, this is an America. This is a problem that's been in the making since the Industrial Revolution, since the establishment of the ultra wealthy, since the Reagan tax cuts. This has always loomed as a problem, and it lurches and presents itself in many different ways, and this is certainly one of them. But yeah, no, as much as I support the ardent the I'm starting to sound like Rush. As much as I support the ardent left, supporting Colbert and his ilk, posting in their internet comment sections about ways and ideas that the network can save money, it's entirely at the discretion of their billionaire owners, of their super rich benefactors, the people who power the thing. And that's not a justification for their actions. It's just a call to wake up to the world that you're living in. It's not just Trump. It's not a single unilateral issue. And as much as people say that they're aware and hip to that, they seem to lose sight of it pretty often. And that he kind of becomes the avatar for people's frustrations about the world. He just becomes sort of the punching bag. Not that he doesn't deserve the punching. He certainly has his share and his faults, and he's quite bag shaped. But it speaks to a bigger problem in this country, which is the concentration of media sources in general. And the fact that, everyone says they love Colbert and they love network television, and they're probably hearing all this commentary and going to all their news on their phones with no sense of irony whatsoever. No sense that they might be contributing to the changing world in which they live. Um, and it certainly has a lot of implications on those of us who wish to do comedy on television one day. I say this as a lifelong fan, as a not a lifelong fan, but like as someone who is fond of watching clips of old Letterman shows on YouTube and has to contextualize all that romantic energy I look at 80s, 90s television with, and say to myself that that's just not really possible anymore. That world doesn't exist. That's not going to be something that I reach. As much as I like it and it appeals to me and I dream for it, that's just not going to be something that works out for me. At least I don't think so. I have to stay somewhat rational. I can dream a dream of time gone by, so to speak, but I have to stay level headed, and it's not. I'm not going to be on. I'm not going to do five on the Tonight Show and how Johnny waved me over. And I liked your pussy eating jokes the best. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm too edgy for that world even. I sound like a perfect ass. No, but I'm too edgy for 80s, 90s television, really. And then this one, I really, I relate more. I swing more to the people that say that it was entirely political. Because it was nakedly political to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air and take a moment to appreciate all the people saying, I stand with Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, even if his politics are great, and they are, and he's just and he's right, doesn't it still feel a little weird to say, I stand with Jimmy Kimmel? You know, it's kind of like saying, I stand with Andy Rooney. He should be able to rant about whatever he wants. It's just never, it's not a name with a lot of nobility for me. But that's a stupid point. That's a minute point to make. Um, Eventually things were righted, and it was a great show. I hope people take the lesson of that. I hope it stays resonant with them. Why things changed, how things changed. People canceled their financial contributions to his parent companies, to ABC, to Disney, and they stood up. They took notice. They thought, as much as we think we're going to protect our financial interests by getting rid of this rabble rouser, this Kimmel, eventually we're going to lose more money than that move could ever be worth. That's not going to serve us in the long run. That's what it was apparent to me, is that it was the network, the bosses, whoever, Iger, the entire conglomeration, just thinking, how can we get and keep as much money as possible? Do we capitulate to the fascists? Do we stand for civil liberties? This is all irrespective to us. It's kind of one and the same. It pretty much is which door has money behind it and which door has slightly less money. And they were put in a position where they had to go both ways, where they took Kimmel off, and then once the cancellation started rolling through, they put him back on. I'm not entirely convinced that they were going to restore his program had the people canceling and pulling their money out of Hulu Plus, out of Disney, taking their pocketbooks away from theirs. I'm not convinced that uh, they would have came to the same conclusion had people not taken action. And it's sad to say I don't know if the same result would be achieved if they did the same with Colbert by canceling their Paramount Plus subscriptions, but I guess one can remain hopeful. And it was unfortunate because I feel like the conclusion of it, at least the public conclusion, was that it was all about Charlie Kirk. It was never about Charlie Kirk. It was entirely about protecting financial interests and financial interests being threatened. Kimmel came back and apologized for nothing he needed to apologize for. Nothing was. He's certainly done a lot worse. Can tell you that much. At least he didn't do Charlie Kirk face. Um, but yeah, no, there's nothing. There was nothing to be contrarian about. Not contrarian, but there's nothing to be contrite about. But yeah, no, Kimmel had a great uh, opportunity, a great thing, as horrible, and as nightmarish as it was. He had full right and opportunity to really just set fire to everything, to really take it where it was, pull it where it was, and it just seemed apologetic. It really did, and nobody really seems to be aware of that. At least not the people who responded to my comments on the internet. At least not to the people that responded to the threads I made about it or whatever. No one really seemed to say, "Hey, he's kind of letting these guys off the hook. He's kind of not holding their feet to the fire. He's kind of saying, yeah, it was a Charlie Kirk situation. It totally wasn't." And that whole bullshit thing of, well, we wanted to take him off the air. That public statement they made was just like it was a charged time, and we weren't sure what a late night host's remarks would set off. Are you serious? With the amount of programming that ABC and Disney have put forth over the decades, is really the most politically incendiary thing is going to be the Jimmy Kimmel show. That's going to start a riot. In its place, you're going to put like an hour long Charlie Kirk thing, or hour long Charlie Kirk documentary. Was that not going to light a few cars on fire? Was that not going to separate a few hydrants from the sidewalk? I mean, come on now. If you're going to capitulate to fascists, the least, the bare minimum you can do that's expected of you, at least as far as I'm concerned, is if I ran the world, is that you at least be forthright about it, that you not hide behind some bullshit statement that kind of obfuscates the issue and just sort of says, oh well, we had full right. We were trying to do our best. You were trying to save your pocketbooks and you didn't know how to do that. And you didn't really know there was only one direction to go in. You tried to go in both, and now the stain is on you. It was on SNL when they let Trump host like a lesser, more minor degree, but it should be on your network now. The fascists came barking, and you said, "How high? How high do we have to jump? Because we'll do it. We'll do it. We don't care. You control our programming. There's no daylight between the hands of the people that govern us and our own. And that doesn't have to be limited to Trump. That's just that sets a precedent. Like what is it going to be like when there are future presidents or when Trump is on his 21st year of power? Truly, it was such a shame. It's such self-serving bullshit, that statement. It really was. It was so frustrating, for this anarchist. But yeah, no, that's the state of the world we live in, is that, late night is becoming a little more homogenized. The entire media atmospheres are getting stratified, and there's good and bad to that. I guess I can't really hope to ever get on a late night talk show, but I can record myself and post it on the internet for hopefully 3 likes. I don't know. I mean, my episodes haven't been doing that good anyways, but it's important that I plug along here. That I just put out product. I can't be making product contingent on whether people like it or not. If I can do it for free, if I can do it cost effective, if I can just ramble on for the sake of my own self satisfaction, that'll be payment enough. But also, money would be nice. Like, um, but yeah, no, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say. But it's there. There's a future people need to reckon with in that. It's not entirely an invention of this regime we're living in, that soon more and more people will not be on television, that things will slowly become more digitized. And I think we're going to see that if there is still like an absence of the Late Show. It really depends on what they replace it with. We haven't really heard anything yet. I haven't heard anything yet. But then again, I have no contact, so it really depends. People thinking, well, what if they charge for tickets? It's like you're built in a lemonade stand on the edge of the sun. It's you're just gonna you have to come to grips with the world that you're living in. Not yield to it, but just say, okay, some methods may become outdated of how to make jokes and satirize life and make that something. But in the meantime, if we're going to pull people off the air like Jimmy Kimmel with any immediacy and make people care for Jimmy Kimmel, the very least that we can do is at least be honest about our motives, our motivations in doing so, and be transparent as companies. But of course, I should have expected the face saving answer, the "we have no shame" answer from Iger, from Disney, from ABC. But it's still dispiriting to see. And here's just one more voice saying that was bullshit, that was complete and total bullshit, that you shouldn't you shouldn't stay asleep to what's going on in this country. It's not quite fascism. It's just what it has always been: capitulation towards profit. They don't care about you. They don't give a fuck about you, as Carlin said. And boy, do we need more George Carlin references on the internet. But yeah, your freedoms, your liberties, your happiness are all at the discretion of people with much more money than you have. And the only hope we have of circumventing that are doing organized versions of the canceled Disney Hulu Plus plans. Imagine if we could get uh, the same motivation behind a general strike as we did with the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel. Just sit back and imagine that, and who knows, maybe my voice quality will be even better on the next episode because I'll be talking as close to the mic as possible. But again, sorry if this sounds a little rough, and to those who stayed and listened to the whole spiel, thank you very much. And I'll be talking about new shit real soon.